perception. But someone else says, that's not how it is, good fellows. There are ascetics and Brahmins of great power and might. They insert and extract a person's perception. When they insert it, you become percipient. When they extract it, you become non-percipient. That's how some describe the cessation of perception. But someone else says, that's not how it is, good fellows. There are deities of great power and of might. They insert and extract a person's perception. When they insert it, you become percipient. When they extract it, you become non-percipient. That's how some describe the cessation of perception. That reminded me of the Buddha. Surely it must be the Blessed One, the Holy One, who is so very skilled in such matters. The Buddha is skilled and well versed concerning the cessation of perception. How does the cessation of perception happen? Perception arises with a cause. Regarding this Poṭṭhapāda, those ascetics and Brahmins who say that a person's perceptions arise and cease without cause or reason are wrong from the start. Why is that? Because a person's perceptions arise and cease with cause and reason. With training, certain perceptions arise and certain perceptions cease. And what is that training, said the Buddha? It's when a realized one arises in the world, perfected, a fully awakened Buddha. That's how a mendicant is accomplished in ethics, seeing that the hindrances have been given up in them. Joy springs up. Being joyful, rapture springs up. When the mind is full of rapture, the body becomes tranquil. When the body is tranquil, they feel bliss. And when blissful, the mind becomes immersed, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unskillful qualities. They enter and remain in the first absorption, which has the rapture and bliss born of seclusion, while placing the mind and keeping it connected. The sensual perception that they had previously ceases. At that time, they have a subtle and true perception of the rapture and bliss born of seclusion. That's how, with training, certain perceptions arise and certain perceptions cease. And this is that training, said the Buddha. Furthermore, as the placing of the mind and keeping it connected are stilled, a mendicant enters and remains in the second absorption, which has the rapture and bliss born of immersion, with internal clarity and mind at one, without placing the mind and keeping it connected. A subtle and true perception of the rapture and bliss born of seclusion that they had previously ceases. At that time, they have a subtle and true perception of the rapture and bliss born of immersion. That's how, with training, certain perceptions arise and certain perceptions cease. And this is that training, said the Buddha.
Yes, madam. Now we will be reading this same sutta in twin perspective, so that we can understand in how to apply this practice in twin perspective. We will learn. There is a TWIMBot available, and one can ask any questions there, and it gives answers in twin perspective. Amita do you want to read? Otherwise, I give you.
Yes, sure.
Yes, you can read from here.
Thank you for sharing the beginning of DN9, the Poṭṭhapāda Sutta. This is a profound discourse that addresses several key topics relevant to TWIM, including the nature of perception, cessation and development of perception through training, absorptions, the jhanas are conditioned states, dependent arising of perception. Let's unpack the TWIM aligned perspective on the section you have posted, primarily using the Path of Nibbana by David Johnson and Bhante Vimalaramsi's instructions. The key points in the first section: 1. Wrong views about perception. The sutta begins with the wanderer Poṭṭhapāda reporting a discussion about the cessation of perception. The Buddha identifies several wrong views. Perceptions arise and cease without a cause. Perception is a self that enters and departs. Powerful ascetics or deities insert or extract perception. TWIM would classify these as speculative views not rooted in the dependent nature of mind and phenomena. According to Bhante Vimalaramsi, clinging to views like this is a form of personality belief, Sakkaya Ditthi, a fetter to be removed on the path. Second, perception is conditioned. The Buddha states clearly, because a person's perceptions arise and cease with cause and reason, with training, certain perceptions arise and certain perceptions cease. This is dependent origination, paticca samuppacha in action. In TWIM, we constantly observe how contact conditions, feeling, which conditions perception, and so on. Perception isn't inserted by an external agent, it arises from causes and conditions. Bhante Vimalrasi teaches that perception becomes more refined as one practices right meditation using the 6 R's. This refinement reflects the progressive cessation of coarse perceptions, like sensual perception, and the arising of subtler perceptions tied to meditative absorption, the jhanas. Third, training and the jhanas. The Buddha illustrates this conditioned process through the development of jhanas. The first jhana, the sensual perception that they had previously ceases. At that time, they have a subtle and true perception of the rapture and bliss born of seclusion. TWIM interprets this as the meditator moving away from worldly perceptions and experiencing the joy, piti, and happiness, sukha, that arises when hindrances are abandoned through relaxed awareness. This occurs with the 6 R's, which interrupt craving and allow the mind to naturally become tranquil and collected. The second jhana, the subtle and true perception of the rapture and bliss born of seclusion that they had previously now ceases. The perception here becomes even more subtle. The effort to keep the mind on the object, that is, the initial and sustained attention, drops and the mind settles more deeply. In TWIM, this transition is recognized, not forced, and arises as a natural unfolding. Now, the TWIM perspective summary: 1. Perception is conditioned. It is not self, not random, not inserted. Second, Through relaxation and mindfulness, that is the 6 Rs, one removes the hindrances and perception becomes subtler and more refined. Third, the jhanas are not fixed states, but stages of gradually deepening clarity and tranquility. Fourth, TWIM emphasizes understanding how perception shifts due to letting go of craving, not by controlling or suppressing experience. As Bhante Vimalaramsi often said in interviews, the Buddha's path is about seeing clearly how things arise and pass away, step by step, dependent on conditions. That's why the 6 Rs work, because they break the chain at craving.
Yes. Thank you, Amita, for reading this.
You're
It's a
welcome.
very good sutta in the sense it explains there are different views of a person's in this said in the sutta which are not true in the sense that they have said regarding the cessation of perception. Different people have said in different way in this, and Buddha did not agree because they have said that they have said that perception arises and ceases without any cause, but actually it depends on causes and conditions. And as one knows that the dependent origination, like we in dependent origination, one can have like one if one experiences contact, then then next step is feeling, contact, feeling. I would like to show the dependent origination chart also, which is available with me. I will show from our website. There are resources available we have kept here.
Here it is contact, feeling, craving,
Yes, ma'am.
habitual reactions, birth, aging, and death.
Yes. I would like to show here because you may remember it. This is 6R. And Sakaya Diti, I want to show that too. Walking meditation hindrances. In this sutta, there was an instance where it was said that if one apply the 6 Rs whenever one get hindrances, one gets subtler, deeper aspects of meditation and they see some of the perceptions. Basically, I would like to emphasize here that if one practices gradually the meditation, and like if some student practices the meditation regularly, what happens is due to applying of 6 Rs, their perspective changes to very wholesome thing. In the sense, like you will be seeing clearly what is true and what is not true. And over the period of time, as you apply the 6 Rs, whenever your mind is getting distracted, your mind settles down and your mind becomes calm enough so that you can see the things clearly. This is the hindrance aspect of the discussion which was happened there. And I would like to mention there Sakaya Diti. Sakaya Diti is right view. In our TWIM perspective, what we need to do is what is right view, or Bhante Vimalaramsi uses harmonious perspective, because if one says right, in back of mind once one gets the word wrong. Instead of that, Bhante uses the word harmonious perspective. Here harmonious perspective in the sense seeing the impersonal nature of everything, because whatever you see in this world is impersonal. like it is not long lasting. Like you can see our body, it can long last as per an average age of, let us say, 100 years. It can last for 100 years. It is impersonal. And you can see any building, it can last for 100 years. And again, they renovate, or everything is like they renovate and again they use it. In a similar way, we need to consider everything as impersonal nature. This is an right view, harmonious perspective. And this is the dependent origination which I would like to show here. Like what we can do is we can control from here. Like there is a first link is ignorance, then formations, then consciousness, then mentality, materiality, then sense stores, then contact, feeling, craving. Here basically what we can do, like involuntarily we can experience all this ignorance, formations, consciousness, mentality, materiality, six sense stores, contact. Like here it is explained, like contact is something. Let us see, I am seeing the screen. I am seeing the screen of the color on the dependent origination chart. My eye consciousness, combining of this eye color, the eye color and form and eye consciousness is contact. And what happens when I see any contact? There are three kinds of feeling which generates: pleasant, painful, neither pleasant nor painful. And next step, what we have contact with us is craving. Like when you sit for a meditation and when you get tightness in your mind, or when you get distracted from the object of meditation of loving kindness. Like for initial students, we say to share the loving kindness to spiritual friend. And when they get distracted, then you need to apply 6 hours. And how can we apply 6 hours? Like because we are away from the object of meditation, then we need to apply the 6 hours. And the indication is we need when you are completely away from the object of meditation, then only you need to apply 6 hours. And when you apply 6 hours, you recognize, you release the distraction, you relax the tightness present in your head, and you re-smile, you return to your object of meditation. Here craving, where is craving is whenever you have a tightness in your mind, that is the indication that that is the indication of craving. There we need to relax. Here relaxing is just loosening. Like let us say I'm holding my hand, my fingers are tight here. Relaxing in the sense I'm just relaxing, just my releasing the tightness present there. And every time when we practice this, we are loosening the hindrances, and because of that we will be experiencing joy and happiness. The moment of releasing of hindrance will make us to establish in our practice. And gradually over the period of time, because of experiencing the happiness and joy of because of releasing the hindrances, gradually your joy, happiness starts growing. This is very good explained here about the even the jhana, and we will move forward. We talked till second jhana, what I guess, Nanda madam. So they touch the nose, sir. Have you ever heard of this before? Yes. We have read till yes, we can read from here. Nanda madam, do you want to read?
Furthermore, with the fading away of rapture, a mendicant enters and remains in the third absorption, where they meditate with equanimity, mindfulness, and aware, personally experience the bliss of which the noble ones declare. Equanimous and mindful, one meditates in bliss. The subtle and true perception of the rapture and bliss born of immersion that they had previously ceases. At that time, they have a subtle and true perception of bliss with equanimity. That's how, with training, certain perceptions arise and certain perceptions cease. And this is that training, said the Buddha. Furthermore, giving up pleasure and pain and ending former happiness and sadness, a mendicant enters and remains in the fourth absorption without pleasure or pain, with pure equanimity and mindfulness. A subtle and true perception of bliss with equanimity that they had previously ceases. At that time, they have a subtle and true perception of neutral feeling. That's how, with training, certain perceptions arise and certain perceptions cease. And this is that training, said the Buddha. Furthermore, a mendicant going totally beyond perceptions of form with the ending of perceptions of impingement, not focusing on perceptions of diversity, aware that space is infinite, enters and remains in the dimensions of infinite space. The perception of luminous form that they had previously ceases. At that time, they have a subtle and true perception of the dimension of infinite space. That's how, with training, certain perceptions arise and certain perceptions cease. And this is that training, said the Buddha. Furthermore, a mendicant going totally beyond the dimension of infinite space, aware that consciousness is infinite, enters and remains in the dimension of infinite consciousness. The subtle and true perception of the dimension of infinite space that they had previously ceases. At that time, they have a subtle and true perception of the dimension of infinite consciousness. That's how, with training, perception, certain perceptions arise and certain perceptions cease. And this is that training, said the Buddha. Furthermore, a mendicant going totally beyond the dimension of infinite consciousness, aware that there is nothing at all, enters and remains in the dimension of nothingness. The subtle and true perception of the dimension of infinite consciousness that they had previously ceases. At that time, they have a subtle and true perception of dimension of nothingness. That's how, with training, certain perceptions arise and certain perceptions cease. And this is that training, said the Buddha. Poṭṭhapāda, from the time a mendicant here takes charge of their own perception, they proceed from one stage to the next, progressively reaching the peak of perception. Standing on the peak of perception, they think intentionality is bad for me. It's better to be free of it. For if I were to intend and choose, these perceptions would cease in me and other coarser perceptions would arise. They don't, I neither make. Why don't I neither make a choice nor form an intention? They neither make a choice nor form an intention. Those perceptions cease in them, and other coarser perceptions don't arise. They touch cessation, and that Poṭṭhapāda is how the progressive cessation of perception is attained with awareness. Why do you think Poṭṭhapāda? Have you ever heard of this before? No, sir. This is how I understand what the Buddha said. From the time a mendicant here takes charge of their own perception, they proceed from one stage to the next, progressively reaching the peak of perception. Standing on the peak of perception, they think, intentionality is bad for me, it's better to be free of it. For if I were to intend and choose, these perceptions would cease in me and other coarser perceptions would arise. Why don't I neither make a choice nor form an intention? Those perceptions cease in them and other coarser perceptions don't arise. They touch cessation. And that is how the progressive cessation of perception is attained with awareness. That's right, Poṭṭhapāda. Does the Buddha describe just one peak of perception or many? I describe the peak of perception as both one and many. But, sir, how do you describe it as one peak and as many? I describe the peak of perception according to the specific manner in which one touches cessation. That's how I describe the peak of perception as both one and many. But, sir, does perception arise first and knowledge afterwards? Or does knowledge arise first and perception afterwards? Or do they both arise at the same time? Perception arises first and knowledge afterwards. The arising of perception leads to the arising of knowledge. They understand my knowledge arose from a specific condition. That is a way to understand how perception arises first and knowledge afterwards, that the arising of perception leads to the arising of knowledge.
Thank you, Nanda Madam, for reading. We will read the same thing in twin perspective. We have been reading from second jhana onwards. Yes, we are reading from here. Really, it is they have explained in detail about the jhana and how one changes the perspective. I will copy this. Amita Madam, do you want to read?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
This segment is especially relevant for TWIM practitioners because it beautifully outlines first the progressive refinement and cessation of perception through training, second, the transition into formless attainments, and ultimately, third, the cessation of perception and feeling. Fourth, the relationship between perception and knowledge. Let's look at this through the lens of TWIM as taught by Bhante Vimalaramsi with insights from the path of Nibbana and related texts. The refinement of perception through jhana and beyond, fourth jhana, the formless realms. Giving up pleasure and pain, they enter the fourth absorption, then infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness. TWIM teaches that each level of jhana reflects a specific refinement in perception. As Bhante Vimalaramsi emphasized, you do not push into these states. They arise naturally through relaxation, observation, and letting go, the 6 hours. Each transition is marked by the cessation of a coarser perception and the arising of a subtler one. Jhana, the realms, fourth jhana, the cessation of bliss and pain. The arising perception is a neutral feeling of equanimity. The jhana of fifth jhana of infinite space, where cessation happens of perception of form, and the arising perception is of space that is boundless. Fifth jhana, sixth jhana, infinite consciousness, cessation of space perception, and the arising perception is of boundless consciousness. Seventh jhana of nothingness, there's a cessation of conscious perception, and the arising perception is that there is nothing. Akinat jhana. In TWIM, these transitions are not mysterious. They are observable shifts in mental perception as the mind becomes more refined and more tranquil. You notice this through relaxed awareness, not by controlling or manipulating attention. Bhante's instruction, let it be. Just observe. Don't try to make anything happen. Now, progressive cessation, that is taking charge of perception. From the time a mendicant takes charge of their perception, this is a key moment in the sutta and in TWIM. That is, taking charge of perception does not mean manipulating or controlling. It means understanding dependent origination and letting go of craving and intention at subtler levels. The meditator sees intentionality is bad for me. That is, even the subtle intention to do something brings back coarser perception. So they abstain from even intending. This culminates in the cessation of perception and feeling, Nirodha Sampatti, which in TWIM is the experience that precedes the attainment of Nibbana. In Bhante Vimalramsi's teachings, this cessation is a temporary stop to all perception and feeling. It happens with awareness. You remember going in, you remember coming out. What follows is knowledge and vision, clear seeing of dependent origination, the impersonal process of mind. This is precisely what leads to the breaking of fetters as described in the path to Nibbana. Now, perception and knowledge. Perception arises first, and knowledge arises after. This clarifies a subtle but important point for TWIM practice. First, the mind perceives, example, joy, tranquility, infinite space. Then, from that perception, wisdom arises, specifically insight knowledge, the vipassana. In the highest levels of practice, the cessation of perception leads to the arising of direct knowledge of how mind works, not from thinking, but from clear awareness post cessation. This is the knowledge that liberates, as Bhante taught. When you come out of cessation, there's a clarity like never before. You see how mind links together. That's the moment of seeing dependent origination directly. The TWIM summary of this passage is the perception is conditioned. It means it arises and ceases due to causes, particularly intention and attention. Then, training leads to refinement. Jhanas and arupa attainments show gradual cessation of coarser perceptions. And intentionality leads to craving. Letting go of even subtle doing stops new perceptions from forming. And the cessation is with awareness, not unconscious. Cessation is known and leads to wisdom. Perception precedes knowledge. Perception precedes knowledge. Knowledge depends on having the right perception. Perception feeds insight.
Yes, thank you, madam, for reading. This is really a very good sutta in the sense it explains the important aspect here. Like a normal student who do not have much experience, they force the things to happen. But Bhante says no force at all. These jhanas will will come automatically. You need not want to make it push. Our practice is basically not a forced practice. It is a relaxed technique where you need to apply the 6R whenever you get your mind is getting distracted. Automatically, when you start the meditation and when you apply the 6Rs, your mind gradually enters into the different jhanas. Like in fourth jhana, which is called as, you will feel equanimity. Equanimity is something where you will neither feel pain, you neither feel uh, pleasure, like a neutral feeling. Okay, it's fine. Like if some teacher asks the students who have practiced, who entered in fourth jhana, how do you feel? The student says, it's fine, it's cool, it's fine. They say in this way. That means they do not experience either pleasure, neither pain. And from the fourth jhana, the student, like we say the students to practice, when they practice, we say to practice in the directions. And student experiences that they do not feel, they feel the body to be very light. It means they are entering into the final states of practice, like infinite space. They feel spaciousness. Similarly, infinite consciousness. And they feel nothingness, where they feel nothing is there in our mind. And they are entering basically a finer states of mind from arupa jhana, like arupa jhana we call. That is formless jhanas, formless realms we call. And here important aspect is, like you what I said was, don't try to make anything happen. Let just sit for, let us say you have an intention to sit for some time, and sit for the time and do nothing, just relax. And whenever you get hindrances, you apply the 6 Rs. And basically what happens is, due to practicing in a finer state, you see clearly and your perception changes. And here there is an explanation of cessation. And here in this cessation, it was said that even the subtle intention to do something brings back coarser perception. Like when I have intent to do something in my meditation, then I end up in some coarser perception. Like I may not enter into the finer states. And here the cessation was explained here to be a temporary stop of all perception and feeling. And in one of the like instances, the Sotapada asked Buddha, what arises first, perception or knowledge? Then Buddha explained it as perception, then knowledge arises. Knowledge is nothing but seeing the links of dependent origination as per this. And it is a very good sutta where it reminds us to practice and to be like don't like it makes every student to recognize that we should not force something to happen. Nanda madam, do you want to say something? Or Amita madam, do you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you very much for choosing this sutta. I've never read this, but it is beautiful. I think it's maybe this is the first sutta that I've read that all the stages of jhanas and ayatanas and even samadhi states are very clearly and detailedly explained. And I personally think this is directly relating to our Metta Siksha practice. It is really, really wonderful. Thank you very, very much.
Yes, thank you, madam. Yes, Amita madam, do you want to share something?
Yes, I actually rather had a question about the intentionality part. That
Yes.
very, and it's only when you meditate for some time do you see how to not have intentions. And I wanted to understand if it's a question that in our daily lives, as we go about our lives, how to not choose, how to do something without not having intention.
Here, the basically what explained here is like when you sit in a meditation practice, we should not have an intention to get into some of the jhanas, like not to have a craving, what we call it as craving to have enter into the jhanas. This
Mm.
makes the progress back. And coming into the practical life where we have an intention to do something, you can definitely have, in my perspective, we can definitely have an intention to do something. But at the same time, you need to see that whether we are really attached to it. Let us say, for example, when I say some to a child that I bought the chocolate which which they do not prefer, but different chocolate which they used to do. Like let us say some child used to eat some brand of chocolate, and I bought different brand of chocolate. Basically, the children have a tendency that I need that chocolate, I need that chocolate.
Mm.
Basically, we can live with intention, but not with attachment, or with attachment. We should not be in that way. In that perspective, definitely we can go ahead. We should not have attachment to it. Definitely, we should have an intention to do something wholesome. In my perspective,
Okay.
did you get, ma'am?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for the answer. I needed to hear that. And
Yes.
there was actually another question I had, but it's not a part of this sutta, but it's a
Yes, you
twim.
can ask, madam. You can ask, madam.
Uh, on the days when you don't feel a metta coming to you naturally, when you sit in meditation, how do you go about it?
Yes, it's very important question. Like what happens is some of the new students, rather even some of the old students too, do not experience to share the loving kindness at that moments. And there comes, even though you are trying to sit for one or two sits, again you are not feeling loving kindness. Then there comes the practice which we say similar to loving kindness, but we tell about forgiveness meditation. This forgiveness meditation is something where one forgives everything. mean by the practice. I can share the details of this forgiveness meditation. Like it is nothing but sitting in a practice where you will not be entering higher jhanas, but you have an intention to forgive. Like whatever it is coming in your mind, you forgive. Like you can have an intention to say, use a initial verbalizing to say that I forgive for my not understanding. I forgive for my mistakes. I forgive. You should have an intention of forgiving. Like whatever comes in your, like while sitting, whatever comes in your mind, you forgive. I forgive. You have an intention to forgive. In that way, what happens is your attached moments, like it breaks apart, and you further move and move in the practice. And when you feel not, there is nothing to forgive at all, then you can immediately start the loving kindness. You will, your progress will be very fast. I will share the details here itself. I can share, there is a forgiveness toolkit we have here.
Okay.
In dhammasukha.org, there are many resources of forgiveness. And there is a, this is dhammasukha.org. I think screen is visible.
Yes, yes, it
Yes.
is.
In this, you can search about 1 minute.
There it is in the previous one. So there.
Yes, ma'am. Teachers training. Yes,
Yes.
this is the
That's
For
forgiveness
his
one.
meditation which is
version.
available. Uh, Removing emotional blocks, which is, and definitely uh, at some point of time, some may experience this where they could not able to feel loving kindness, then they can start this. I'm sharing the link here in chat section so that you can quickly, you can copy this and you can use this.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Now, before closing the session, we will read sharing merit, so that whatever the merit which we have attained, let this merit be shared to all, and may all beings be happy, and devas protect this Dhamma. And we can read all together this sharing of merits. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So,
Sadhu means well done. I thank you everyone for joining the session. Thank you, Amita Madam, Nanda Madam, Paul Sir. Bye.
thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for that.
Thank you. We'll meet in next session. Thanking you all. Thank you.